You're watching National Streaming Sports. Over 20 podcasts, 70 shows, and a 3.5-star rating on Roku TV. This show is brought to you by BetUS.com. 125% off your first three deposits, 30 years experience, secure site, wagering for all sports, including during the games and futures. SeatGeek provides you the best prices on sports and music events, game tickets, and concerts. Use NSS promo code to get $20 off your first ticket. Keep using the NSS promo code when purchasing tickets for great deals in the future. In Fanatics at nessp.info for your favorite teams, sportswear, click on the link. And while you're there, check out our national streaming sports merchandise.
You're watching Mac and Jack on National Streaming Sports.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Here we are. We're at Friday, and the Mac and Jack Sports Show on National Streaming Sports Roku channel is here to show you the way, folks, into the weekend. Good morning, everyone. Jack is not with me this morning. He's I don't know what he's out there doing right now. I mean, I hope it's something at least legal. So Jack Hirsch will not be with me, but fear not. Keith Angle will be coming on the show here very soon, and he'll help me cover all the sports. And of course, folks, there's so many sports out there right now. I'm not sure where to go first, but you know something? You want to know something? I think that I'm going here first. That's right, folks. We had MLB action last night, and everybody was talking, and you know, I'm kind of part of this problem here, and Keith Angle's down underneath, and I'm not even gonna give him his intro today. I mean, I should. And should I give him his intro today? I don't. What do you think, producer Linda? Should I give Keith his intro today? Whatever I want to do. Well, I'm gonna give it his intro. I don't care.
Hey guys, Keith Angle from TJ Sports Talk. Happy to be part of the Roku, the national streaming sports Roku channel, as we have been for quite some time. Just a quick rundown of the shows you can see from us. On Sundays, you have the Stream of Consciousness show, which great audience participation, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. On Thursday, 6 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, the College Football Huddle, which will also re-air at 9 a.m. on Saturdays before all the action gets started. And Fridays, we have the one-on-one interview show with former athletes, sports writers. Again, great audience participation encouraged there, as they are in all shows. At 3 p.m. Eastern, we have the Major League Baseball update.
And that is the fastest I've ever heard Keith Angle talk in my life. I mean, I
thought that was going to be my jingle. I was getting excited.
Good morning, Keith Angle. I was just starting to talk about last night's games, and of course, me and you are both Yankee fans. I don't hide that. And in the beginning of the year, I did pick the Yankees to go to the World Series. So far, I'm hanging in there. It was quite a series between them and the Kansas City Royals. But your boy Carlos Stanton continues with his hot bat, going 2 for 3 in an RBI. Torres and Soto drive in the other 2 runs, and Derek Cole, Keith, looks like he's getting stronger every outing.
Listen, I didn't pick the Yankees to win the World Series. I did have them in the playoffs, but I'm always happy when I'm wrong when I pick like that. Stanton has been impressive, and when needed, especially with Judge's struggles. And this team has winning games without putting the ball out of the ballpark, which is what is something that they have not done in the past in the playoffs. Winning these close games, getting some timely hitting. The defense has been better than I would have expected it to be, I think. So, and Cole pitched just a fabulous game last night. He did struggle a little bit in game one, but he had pitched well down the stretch. And he's going to be obviously very integral to this team's fortunes, whether it's the team formerly known as the Indians or the Tigers coming up.
Yes, and what do you? I haven't seen Keel pitch yet. Am I missing something here, Keith?
No, they skipped Keel because of all the days off. They didn't really need to go to him. So I don't. Yeah, they went with 3 pitchers in this series, right? Because Cole started twice. When you play only every other day, you get that opportunity. So that's why you've missed Keel, and he would pitch out of the bullpen in a long situation, I think. But I think next round they'll need him because it's a 7-game series, and you won't have days off every other day. So, and big break for the Yankees too is the fact that whether they Cleveland wins or not. Or Detroit. Well, if Detroit wins, Skubal's got to pitch today, which is a big break for the Yankees. I think not having to see him for maybe till game 4. Maybe not sure when the series would start, but that's a big break for the Yankees, I think, too.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they can set their pitching lineup. I don't expect Cole to go the first game.
No, I'm not sure when we'd start. I don't have that schedule in front of me. It might be not till Monday. I'm not even sure because I think the Tiger game is Saturday. If I'm not mistaken. So I would think Monday at the earliest. So probably game 2, you might get him back. There's a shot of that. And again, they'll probably miss Skubal at least the first 2 games, I would think, of that series.
I would agree. Either game 2 or game 3, whatever he feels rested. I think game 3 would be 5 or 6 days, Keith, of rest. So, listen, maybe Skeel, maybe Heel goes in game 1 or game 2. Who knows? I mean, listen, I'm excited that the Yankees are getting there. Judge finally gets a hit. I think he let off that inning. And again, nobody on base. He scores the run. Go ahead.
Yeah. He did start a rally, and again, I'm impressed with the Yankees have won some games without leaning on the long ball, and Stanton's put the ball in play. He's got a home run, but he's been putting the ball in play and driving in runs. So he's had a good series, and I haven't always been very kind to Mr. Stanton, but when we need him right now, he's coming up, and I'll give him kudos for that.
Yeah, and I know I posted it. He even stole a base. I was like, holy God, what has gotten into this man? I mean, they weren't paying attention to him. I understand that, but still, for him to
where was the ball? Did the ball go into the press box when he stole? I mean,
it was a great steal. Hand first, he got the corner of the bag. I mean, I was glad to see it. It shows me that he really wants this. This. So that did look.
And the bullpen has been tremendous.
Yes.
Both Holmes and Weaver have been lights out. Weaver, I mean, he's come out of nowhere here this year. I mean, last year his ERA was like, I don't know, between 5 and 6. It was terrible. Yeah. He's been just a godsend with the struggle Holmes has had, and he's pitched much better Holmes, getting him out of that 9th inning situation. So
that was a great pickup, Keith. It really was. Yeah. I didn't expect him to be this good either. I really did.
No way.
Let's see. Cleveland beats Detroit 5-4. Dave Fry pinch hits. He gets a 3-run home run. There's been a lot of that, Keith, where the teams are putting in pinch hitters, and they're actually, besides the Phillies with Clemens, a lot of these guys have really been stroking the ball and putting their teams on their back. It's been some great moves by the managers there.
Yeah, you got to be. You look like a genius when those guys make you look like a genius, right? They backfire sometimes if guys don't come through. But we've seen, as you said, a lot of these big hits, and that's fun to see. You don't often see a lot of pitch hitting anymore because of DHs and whatnot. You do have teams do platoon some. In fact, these teams platoon a lot. I think the teams that are left here, maybe the Yankees would be the least likely to do it, but the Tigers platoon a lot. The Guardians platoon a lot, and it's again. I like to watch that type of baseball. I don't need to see 3-run home runs and strikeouts and walks all day. I like to see base runners moving around and timely and hitting and good fundamental baseball. And I think we've seen some of that in these playoffs between all the participants.
I agree. Good morning, Chris. Glad to have you aboard this morning. Dimitri Young, 51 today. He's like He's old enough to be Keith's son. I mean, that's about
Yeah, actually, I'd be very young, but it's close.
So anyway, he's don't worry, Keith. He's old enough to be my grandson, and anyway, listen, we got to talk about the Mets. We've talked about them a lot. They have what I call it. I even compare them to the Miracle Mets, and you guys laughed at me. I still think that they could, if they win the World Series, Keith. That's the Miracle Mets part 2. It really is, because they were so far behind.
And again, I wasn't necessarily laughing at you, but it wouldn't be the biggest upset of all time. That was a bigger upset. Does this team have some of the makings of that team and the way they play? The way they won ball games. Yeah. So I would give you credit for that statement in that regard. I just wouldn't, if they win it all, I wouldn't call it as big an upset as that 69 team winning. But the comparisons are certainly there. The pitching staff's nowhere near as good. I'll say that.
No, that's what carried them. I mean,
but there's different guys that step up every night and make big plays. Guys you don't expect to do it. You got a big bat and Lindor carrying the team as he did when he wasn't hurt this season, which is why there's an argument, and a guy like Lindor is as valuable or more valuable to his team than somebody like Ohtani. So you can make that argument.
True, but they don't count the postseason. They're going to go off.
No, I'm talking about this. Even in the regular seaon, though, he was.
Yeah. I mean, if Ohtani didn't steal 100 bases, there's no doubt Lindor would probably be up there and running. So. Our Philly sports guy is now back to Union.
Is he okay?
I think he's back to Union soccer. I mean, I think he's covering Union soccer again. Maybe it'll free him up to come on our Sunday shows, which is good for me. So to talk about the Eagles and how bad they're going to be this year. So
is he predicting the Union to go undefeated? I mean, he's very realistic about his teams. So
yes. And we can say, Chris, that the Mets keep it fun. Yeah, they do. And I mean, listen, I still think, and we talked about it a little bit Wednesday, Zach Wheeler should have started that game and should have pitched, as far as he could have went. That's their ace. And I know the thought process is, well, this guy pitched, before in postseason. You got to go with your best, or you're going home. And I think it was a crucial mistake. I mean, I know you want him for a final game 5, but we didn't even get there. And I think the Phillies made a huge mistake, Keith.
I think I would agree. I mean, when your season's on the line, everybody's got to be available. If he's not any good, then you get him out, and you still got your other starters you can bring in early in the game, and you worry about the next series, the next game. At this point in the season, you got to take it by game when you're in that position. Yeah. When you're ahead, right? I mean, that's a little different.
Sure.
And even then, I want to close them out with my best pitcher, to be honest with you. So.
Definitely. So we have San Diego at the Dodgers after the 8-0 whooping they took. Mookie Betts, the catcher Will Smith, second baseman Gavin Liu, all with 2 RBIs apiece. Dodgers pitched 8 different pitchers, Keith. Do you think this is what they're going to try and do again? I mean, it either works great or you can get hammered. One or the other. So I don't know what the Dodgers are going to do here, especially with their starting rotation. You know what I mean?
Well, they don't have a lot of choices because of the starters. You got really Yamamoto and Flaherty that you can count on for 7 or 5 games in this series, 7 potentially next. Yeah, they've got to cobble together basically almost bullpen games the other 3 days, and that's hard to maintain through a 7-game series. You get away with it for a game, but nobody's really, that I can remember, has ever been in this type of situation they are with their starting pitching as banged up as it is, and having to cobble together 8 I mean, that's hard to get 8 players in a game today with some of the rules where you got to pitch to 3 guys before you come out.
I mean, so you see the manager sitting there like, get this 3rd guy out. Come on. It's like, are you kidding me?
And Dave Roberts, this is huge. I mean, Dave Roberts lose this game, and rightfully or wrongfully. I mean, Dave Roberts, I think, has done a really good job. If you think about, I know he hasn't won in a postseason except for the COVID season, but he's got these teams through regular seasons with this type of pitching injuries. It seems every single year, and wins 90, 100 and plus games last year. playoff success hasn't been there. He's probably going to lose his job if they don't get out of this series at least.
It's true. It's true. And it's crazy. I mean, listen, the Dodgers have, I mean, I don't know what it is with them. I mean, you know, it's the same with the Phillies, right? The Phillies were one of the favorites. The Dodgers are one of the favorites. And if the Dodgers do lose, you know, and I don't know what do you do? I mean, how can you change things? You can only, you know, buy and replace so many players, and you know, you run out of gas somewhere in there. I mean, there's something that has to be done, Keith. Yeah,
and look at this. That's why you can't get rid of, you know, 25 guys, especially when they're all on guaranteed huge contracts. So the manager's likely going to take the fall. I mean, you always see that. Look at the Braves. And if the manager doesn't take the fall, then the coaches do, because you saw what happened in Atlanta where they fired basically their entire staff. And I think it happened in there was someplace else that happened last week too. It's slipping my mind. But it's what managers do to save their jobs sometimes. And, you know, I don't always have a lot of respect for that. Sometimes the managers ought to just say, no, I'm not. Depending on their relationship with those coaches. If they didn't hire him, that's different. I had a problem with Aaron Boone 3 years ago when the only way he could keep his job was to turn over his coaching staff, including one of maybe his best friend in baseball. He threw them guys under the bus so he could stay.
Yeah.
To me, a guy with more integrity might say, no, if they're gone, I'm gone. But
yeah,
somebody's got to pay, and it's not always going to be the players. I mean, the Dodgers do theoretically have a new starting pitcher next year in Ohtani, theoretically.
Right.
We'll see how that goes.
I still don't think they pitch him. I don't think they – if he gets hurt again, I mean, you know, who knows what's going to happen. That shoulder, it affects his swing. I don't care what they say. I mean, it's better now. He's throwing the ball now, but I don't know if you put – you know, sort of like Babe Ruth. I always compare him to Babe Ruth because Babe Ruth was still could have been a Hall of Fame pitcher, Keith. And they said, no, we want him hitting and playing right field, and we don't want to test him. And he did spot start. I can see him spot starting Ohtani during the season and maybe in this World Series or whatever. Yeah.
Listen, if they get by this series, and I guess there's nothing to keep him from pitching him now, they could. There was some talk about him potentially doing that the last month of the season. To me, to throw him now would be dangerous, right? When you haven't thrown any games in anger in a game all year long and put him into this type of situation, you do put him at a higher risk of getting hurt, I think. But next year, I think they give it a shot. I wonder whether he'll hold up. That's all.
Yeah, me too. All right, Chris, thanks for all them comments, buddy. So the last time the Mets and the Yankees made it to LDS, there was a Subway Series, Keith. Do you see that happen possibly again?
Yes. I mean, I think the odds would probably favor it. I'm sure they're both. Let's see, the Mets. Well, it depends. The Mets will probably be underdogs, I would guess, to either team. But Yankees will be favored. And the way the Mets are playing, I'm not discounting them. If they were, 10-1 underdogs, I wouldn't discount them. And it would be fun. I think it'd be fun to see. Yankees need to get to a World Series. They haven't been to one now in 15 years again. This is the longest drought they've had historically. Has been 15 years. Last time was 81 to 96, I believe. So,
and they still have holes in that team, Keith. They really do. I mean, holes that could prevent them from winning the series or even winning the LDS. It's there. It hasn't changed any. Maybe with Torres at first base, and even in the left field sometimes, and even third base. Really, I mean, he's okay. I mean, the Jazz is all right, but he's not the best third baseman in the league.
He won't be the long-term solution there, I don't think. He'll be. I would think there's a good chance he moves to second base next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's holes here defensively, as you mentioned, and even in the lineup. But Stanton picked it up when he needed to. Soto's been very good. Little scary in the field at times, but everybody is.
Yes,
but
he is.
Finding ways to win. I'm impressed that they're winning these games. You know what? They would have lost this series the last 4 or 5 years with Judge going out there and getting 1 or 2 hits, one being an infield hit. They probably would have lost this series in the last few years. So if they find ways to win these types of games, that's key. And they got to beat really good pitchers, which, I would argue they really haven't seen that type of pitcher. They haven't seen a Wheeler. They haven't seen a Skubal that they're going to see if they play the Tigers. So those types of games, they've got to find a way to win like they have here against the Royals. But I'm encouraged. I'm encouraged.
One more thing on the Yankees, and I don't think he gets enough credit, is our shortstop. I mean, he's made some unbelievable defensive plays out there. He puts the bat on the ball. I mean, I do appreciate that young kid playing shortstop the way he's playing right now, Keith.
He's playing good defense. It's surprising he won a Gold Glove last year when his defense probably wasn't as good as it was this year. But he does need to put the bat on the ball. And I think he's got to cut down those strikeouts. I love the kid, and I want him to succeed. That is, again, stop swinging for the fences as much and put the ball in play more, because he's got some speed. He'll beat out some infield if he just puts it in. And there's enough. This team will always have enough sluggers. He doesn't need to go hit 30 home runs. So
I agree.
But I do like the kid myself, definitely.
So
Austin didn't hit well, but Austin Wells has also picked it up and picked up his defense.
Austin Wells, I expect to have a good LDS, because he was a little silent, in this round of the playoffs. I think he's a good young catcher defensively, and he does have a little pop in his bat, and he does have a pretty good average for a catcher. And you got to say that.
That 80s porn star mustache might have to go, though. I don't know.
Listen, Jeter Gregorius. I think he can hold the shortstop position. I don't think there's anybody that could challenge him right now. I don't think they have anything in the farm system, Keith, that could challenge him.
No, his main competition was a kid that he came up with. He's been out of my mindset for so long. I can't think of his name. He got hurt last year. And they might even trade him out of the organization. So there's nobody that's going to challenge him here in the near future.
I think Cabrera was the main guy, was one of the guys that could challenge him.
But there was another guy. Cabrera's, he's not nearly as good defensively, right? That's one of the reasons he's used everywhere he goes. He's capable in a bunch of these positions, right? But you don't need him. You can't have him playing every day at any one of them, I don't think.
I like him at first base. I really do. I like that. Yeah, I like him at first base. I think
well over there.
Yeah, he did. So we'll see what happens.
I was surprised to see Birdie over there in game 3. Birdie never played first base in a game in his life. That was a little shit.
Hey, listen, it's only the playoffs. Throw him out there. Let's see what happens. We're getting near the bottom of the hour, Keith. Got a couple commercials to play. A new sponsor, a partner that we have. I'm going to run those, and we're going to get back with some college football and NFL, folks. So stay right with us. It's only going to take a couple.
Yo, you already know it's your boy LCF. I just tore it up for Zodiac TV. Shout out DJ Epps. Oh, man, it was great, man. We did an interview. Then I hit the stage. The crowd was amazing. They gave me all their energy. I gave them that energy back. Linked up with some dope artists in the building. Zodiac TV, man. Hey, we gonna celebrate for the rest of the night, you know what I mean? With some Bel Air. Shout out my nigga Rose. Holla at your boy. Boss shit, you already know. But we tore it up, man. Performance was amazing. The set was amazing. Zodiac TV, shout out y'all boys, man. Thank you for having me. You already know I'm gonna come back. Your boy finna come back. Go to work, did it all for nothing. Make sure y'all go get that single, available on all platforms. Let's go.
My girl just told me that she pregnant, we expecting the shit. So I had to buckle down, accelerate, no slowing down. Some people, that's why I don't come around.
You're gonna call anyone that loves you. You're gonna ask them if you can use their card to buy concert tickets because your card's maxed out. Okay. If they say yes, you get the tickets.
I can't call my parents because they already think I make bad financial decisions. Well, so I think I'll call one of my friends.
Okay.
I'm a little nervous. I feel tingly.
What's your not answer?
Giovanna? Yes. I was on SeatGeek earlier and I saw 2 tickets for Olivia Rodrigo at a really, really, really good price. So oh my God. I maxed my credit card out by accident last week. Do you think I could use yours to buy the tickets? Oh my God, yes. Did I what?
Yeah, you got the tickets. You got the tickets.
I just want tickets. We're going to go to the concert together. Giovanna, I'll call you later. Love you. Thanks for picking up. Oh my God. I'm going to see Olivia Rodrigo.
Yes, thank you, SeatGeek.
There you go, SeatGeek. And I love how she accidentally maxed out her credit card. That's precious. Yeah, that's precious. So thank you to SeatGeek for teaming up with us. And folks, if you do go to SeatGeek, the SeatGeek site, to check out some tickets, and they got great deals over there, use the NSS QR code. It will give you the $20 off your first purchase, and it will also give you great deals in the future purchases. Use NSS promo code. Right there is your QR code. It will bring you right to them. I got so many QR codes, Keith, I don't know what to do with them now. So anyway,
I got to figure out how to add some of those. I haven't even figured out how to do it. I've been trying to take some time, and I haven't really had it.
I just right in the top, Keith, right in the top part where you just add it. Just go down when you go to your downloads. Here's some shop talk for you guys out there. When you go to your downloads, just that was sent to you, just hit
The same way as adding any other banner, I guess.
Yes, just like any
Overlay,
overlay.
right.
Yes, there you go. And folks, again, thanks to Zodiac TV.com, choice of a new generation for sports and music. And so that's it for the commercials, and we can get back to what we're here for. Of course, that's the college football and football. Let's start with Thursday night's game. We talked about it Wednesday. Me and Bo got it right. As we took the Rams over the Cardinals. But there is a disclaimer with Bo. He said, if it's 3.5, he's taking the Cardinals, Bo.
I do the same thing. Yeah.
Bo, listen. Seattle Seahawks are not a playoff team right now. I'm sorry, they're not. And, Deebo Samuels is healthy now. I don't know what happened to the running back. I guess something did happen to Mason. But, listen, the 49ers got a variety of weapons. They got the tight end. They got Ayuk if they need him. Now they got Deebo back. Purdy is healthy. I mean, I think they set the tone that they're going to take this division, Keith, unless Arizona plays out of their mind.
Yeah, I mean, San Francisco, they've gotten off the slow starts before, and they've had some injuries. I would think this is their major competition in the division, personally. And as much as it's impressive what Geno's done coming back and reviving his career, I still don't think, and I think you saw that last night, and in big moments, he's going to be a guy who's going to step up and lead your team. And the last interception he threw when they were still in the game and they were moving the football, they're trying to move the football. That's just a pass you can't throw. The guy, he's staring right at the guy, ready to jump the receiver, and he throws an interception that really put the nail in their coffin. And they can't win throwing the ball 52 times a game either, this team. And they've got to be able to run the ball and control the clock a little bit. So the 49ers did a really good job with a banged up defense controlling Kenneth Walker last night. So 49ers are still a very, very, very good team, I think. And you saw it last night.
And with that, again, I am under. I got to add Thursday night to picks because I haven't lost a Thursday night game yet. When I got to pick them for real, it's just I don't know.
I'm very happy you didn't, because I think I told you that if I saw that game and the half point got added, I would have bet it as well last night and Sunday. So.
Oh, Lord. And I think there's a major problem there right now, Keith, with DK Metcalf. They're trying to force him the ball all the time. They got Lockhart. They got the young wide receiver. They got tight ends. You got a running back that can catch the ball out of the backfield, but they're forcing the ball to DK Metcalf. It looks like him and Geno are going at it the sidelines. The offensive coordinator and him are going at it on the sidelines. And you can't have a guy on the sidelines who's frustrated because he can't get the Giants shut him down the week before, and he's frustrated. I get it. But if you're going to force this ball into him, and when he's double covered, and that's what happened on the overthrow there, and he was triple covered one time, and they tried to force it into him. What are they doing? What are you doing? You're hurting the team, and there are receivers that will hurt the team. I think DK Metcalf is a problem right now, Keith.
There was good distribution of the football last night, but I think it was out of necessity. He threw the ball so many times. That's why you saw Walker with 8 catches, and Lockett had a pretty good game. And people forget about Smith Nijaba, whatever his name is from Ohio State. He's a really good player. As you said, there's other weapons here. And the way for them to get Metcalf less double covered is to use those other guys, right? So you can't just take him out of the game. I mean, that's what every team should do. And that was Bill Belichick's mantra all the time. This one guy's not beating me.
Right.
Everyone else can go off. this one guy's not beating me. And that's what teams are doing with Metcalf, taking him out of the game. And look, he's a competitor. And he's got a bit of a, he's a wide receiver, right? So they all have diva attitudes probably. And he's showing it right now. He's just got to not get frustrated. He's a very talented player, but I can see this guy demanding a trade again in a week because he's done this before when he's not happy. So
Yeah.
that's not good for your team ever. So
No,
he's probably the biggest receiver in the league. I'd say he's huge.
he's close. I mean, he's built like a tight end, right? I mean, he is built like a tight end, and he's got speed. Keith, I think that when you get, for instance, Giants got Malik Neighbors taken away, and he spread the ball around. This is how you do it. I mean, I remember at the end with Josh Allen, with his receiver there, Diggs. He at the end of the year he started using the other receivers, and Diggs got upset. I'm sorry, we're here to win the game, and not that they don't want to throw their number one receiver, but listen, like you said, how do you get coverage away from these guys? You get it by going to other places, and I think that if Seattle, I just don't know what Seattle's going to do right now. Sorry, Bo, I don't know where that team is going to fit in the in the playoff picture now. I don't know.
They may have to win the division somehow to get into playoffs. There may only be one team from this division because there's some good teams elsewhere. There's some surprise teams in the north of the NFC. So I think that
what is Chris drinking this morning? I mean, Chris's
defense, he is. I have always challenged him to come up with the irreverent knowledge on my show. So this is what he throws out.
He's doing a hell of a job. Chris, you're doing a great job. I have heard Terry Bradshaw sing, and he is quite terrible. Last time I checked, I mean, I know he was naked in one film he played. I remember that too. And
failure to launch. Failure to launch.
That was disturbing. That was very disturbing. And
Terry Bradshaw's had a very unique career for sure.
Yes.
And
I mean, he's a great broadcaster. I mean, he's a fun broadcaster.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, I do too. I
don't watch reality TV as a rule, but the Bradshaw Bunch was one of the best reality TV shows they ever had. I wish it would come back. I think when he got sick, he had cancer, a recurrence of cancer a couple of years ago, and they didn't bring the show back after that. He's healthy now, I believe. But it was a fun show to watch because you got to see Terry in all his glory. It was a very funny show.
Have you checked out the video? The movie on oh my God, I just had his name just before I asked the former tight end, and I should know because he's from here. I should know his name just like this. The former tight end. Thank you. Yes. Have you watched that yet?
I have. Again, I've seen pretty much everything. There's been a lot of documentaries and docudramas, and this is the latest one. I think it's FX, if I remember.
Yes.
It's one of the most horrific stories I can remember in sports, just from, and again, you can't take responsibility away from his own actions. Everybody's responsible for what they do, but this kid's life was just a nightmare from the beginning. And he was heading towards where he went the entire way because of people enabling him, through high school and college. And I mean, there was a lot of stuff that happened at Florida. If you watched that miniseries about the Florida Gators when he was there with Urban Meyer, the Swamp Kings on Netflix.
I did watch that.
I mean, these guys were running amok, and Hernandez put a guy's eye out, and you never even heard about it until after he was in the pros.
Yeah.
And it's a sad story, but it's a good watch if you want to see behind the scenes of some stuff. I'm sure they take some liberties with some things as they do, but
yeah, I'm sure
it's
too.
always been a sad story to me because he was a great talent.
I remember when it came out, and of course, like I said, he was from Bristol High. He was very and as you said, once you get that type of stardom in high school, and he couldn't make the adjustment from going from the streets to the NFL is basically the short story of it. He still thought he was a gangster, and he tried to be a gangster, and then now he's a gangster in prison. So
This is the problem with a lot of guys. A lot of guys who come from that kind of background, and this was taken to the wildest extreme. But they, their posses follow them wherever they go. Even Allen Iverson, who never got in any real trouble, again, one of his downfalls in professional basketball was the fact that his whole posse from when he was a kid, hangers on, I would call them, right, are just there collecting a paycheck to hang out with the star, and trouble was just waiting for him. And look, there's something obviously wrong with him as well. Normal people don't think the way he was thinking, regardless of who you're hanging around with. And it's a sad story because he was a very talented player.
He was. I mean, the Patriots, when they had him and they had Gronk there, that was a hell of a tandem. Speed, power. It was Hernandez out of the backfield running with the ball too. It was really a great tandem. But as you said, it's hard to leave the streets for some of these guys, and it's hard to cut ties with the past. And the ones that do end up being okay, the ones that don't. And there's nothing wrong with going back and giving back to your neighborhood. And a lot of them do that, Keith, right? They go back, they help build these things, playgrounds, schools, they donate money and time. That's fine. In fact, I love to see that stuff. But, you can't bring the past with you into the future, right?
Right. And I did take a little dig at Urban Meyer's for turning his head. I can't let my team off the hook either. There's a lot of people in that locker room. I've seen players interviewed who knew there was something wrong with this guy, and a lot of them didn't want anything to do with him because there was two sides to this guy. Robert Kraft saw a guy who was just like a man child and wanted love, and he loved the guy, but he didn't really pick up on what was wrong with him. But the players all saw it, and nobody really wanted to be around him in the locker room. They were scared of what he might do next. And then Belichick would ignore some of his outbursts on the field and stuff. So I can't give the Patriots and Belichick a pass on turning their head to this as well.
What do you do with a guy like that? I don't know. So
and again, the multiple concussions is part of it, as well as his sexuality. But again, these things, the person he became didn't start when he got his first concussion. He was already well on his way to being maybe not a serial killer that he turned out to be, but certainly not a pillar of society. And by the way, these guys, including him, they may have committed a lot of crimes and done some horrible things. They were not criminal masterminds at all, by the way. If you watch,
they were kind of dumb. They were kind of dumb. I remember the things they did were stupid. But and I agree. Jason, you get concussions. But a lot of people that get concussions don't go out and kill people or try to kill people. This was happening. Right. This was happening way back in grammar school when he started becoming associated with gangs over there. So,
and Jason's right. There are people who have tried to point to the CTE thing, and this is why he went out and killed two people. Well, no, I don't believe that's the case.
Not at all.
It may have contributed to it, but I don't think that's the overriding factor.
No,
not
at all.
Chris is right here. Kevin Mitchell is a great story of a guy who grew up in similar circumstances to Hernandez and overcame that. And even as a young guy, I interviewed Kevin Mitchell on the show, and Kevin Mitchell talked about how the Mets traded him away because they thought he was a bad influence. He goes, look what happened to Doc and Darryl. Who was a bad influence on who?
I know. Oh, that's funny. Well, back to the game, Keith. I'll give you some stats with that. Purdy goes 18 for 28 for 255 yards, 3 touchdowns. Mason runs for 73 yards. Like I said, I don't know how bad that injury is going to affect him. Debo with a huge game, 3 interceptions, 102 yards, 1 touchdown. You got to tackle that guy. You cannot just let him hit him and expect him to fall down. You got to wrap your arms around that guy, or it's all over with.
He's stronger than you think, right? And that's one of the problems with the NFL. Nobody wraps guys up. They all just, try to hit them as hard as they can and think they're going to fall down. And then how many you see it every game? Guys just bounce off and get another 15 or 20 yards.
Yeah,
nobody.
Especially that. He's from the waist down. That guy is a truck. That's like trying to knock down Earl Campbell. You got to tackle a guy. You know what I mean? And Geno Smith, 30 of 52, 312 yards, 1 TD. Again, I agree with you, Keith. Walker, they got to give the ball either to Walker or get him more involved in the game. DK Metcalf, another bad game. Geno Smith. Now, this is the same exact thing that Jalen Hurts said after he threw a bunch of interceptions. Geno says, we have to play better. No, Geno, you have to play better, not we. They played well enough to win the game. They really did. They were in this game into the fourth quarter. I mean, they had a shot. It was 20-17 at the third quarter, I think, Keith. They were there.
Yeah, they were right there. They're 23-17 with the ball after being down 23-3. I think they were down 23-3. And they had the ball down 6, and that's when he throws this horrible pick to I don't remember who picked it. But again, he's trying to force the ball over the middle to Metcalf.
Yeah. I mean,
11 targets and 3 catches for Metcalf. That can't be the percentage of completions to your number one target. You got to figure that out.
Yeah. Well, Jason Gonzalez is talking about football players. Some football players have a hard time. Just an aside, most do not. And I have personal football NFL player friends that have not had that problem. Well,
professional players in general in all sports have had trouble. Not all, but I mean, there's a lot of cautionary tales. But
definitely. I mean, you want to talk about people having a hard time adjusting. Former boxers that have been knocked out 40 times. I mean, yes.
I mean, on that list, there was a couple. There's a couple of relevant names that he had on that list, but a couple of them I don't think belong. I think they became better people after they retired. Michael Vick again, I'm not a big Michael Vick fan, and I know we've had some conversations about Michael Vick recently because of affiliations, right? But he became a better person after he retired. Ray Lewis, who I have no love for, I think probably improved his personal life after he stopped playing. But some of these other guys had some very, very tough times.
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah. And as far as Ray Rice goes, I guess. Well,
he had his, I don't know where he just disappeared because he was still playing when he had his biggest problem. So
that's the truth. That's the truth. So Keith, we get to the again, Geno, and if you're a leader on a football team, you say, my bad, I messed up. It's my fault. You see the people like that. You see Brock Purdy blame himself. You see, Dak Prescott take his lumps, and that's what a leader does. They don't throw anybody else under the bus, man. So anyway.
Tom Brady Tom Brady always, he would take his lumps when he didn't play.
I never heard him, Keith, even at the end, blame the team. I never heard him do that. He said, I got to play better. Canton. All right. Rick's out there at the Hall of Fame.
Rick's brother, Bob, was inducted. I'll throw this little shot out there. Rick's brother, Bob Sherlock, was inducted into the Semi-Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. I think it's happened. Either happened last night or today. I can't remember. I saw a picture this morning. Rick sent over.
Congratulations on that, Rick. I mean, he's mentioned that a bunch. Rick played semi-pro, and Rick on on the Big Blues Brothers show. We're going to talk about a former semi-pro that went on to have a great pro football career. He was right here in Hartford, Bob Tucker. So he played for the Hartford.
Player.
Yeah, the Hartford Oaks became an All-Pro and went to the Super Bowl, I think, with the Vikings with Fran Tarkenton, if I'm not mistaken. So
he got traded from the Giants to the Vikings at one point, right?
Yes. So there you go. So anyway, congratulations. Yeah, thank you, Rick. Thank you very much. So let's get to the big thing. I always love have Keith coming in here on Friday for his college football picks, and I monitor him. And if he does a bad job, I let him know about it on Sunday. So, but he's been pretty hot the last couple of weeks.
What I should do is bet the games that you asked me about, because I'll go bet 3 other games and I go 1-2 and I go 2-1 or 3-0 with you. So
yeah, I mean, Keith, listen, I mean, you're like me on Thursday. I'm great on Thursday. Come Sunday, I don't know, maybe it's the pressure. I don't know. So Keith, let's take a look at a real interesting game to me. All right, you got Penn State against USC. I think USC is getting 5 points. Right?
At home, they're getting 5 points, and USC hasn't played well the last few weeks. I didn't think before the season USC was going to be all that good. I thought 6-6 at their first year in the Big Ten was going to be maybe the ceiling, but they played better than I thought early in the year. They went into Michigan. It's always hard to win in Michigan in the big house, but we've found out Michigan's not as good a football team, even as we're not thinking it would be good in the beginning. I don't think it's even as good as that. Right. So I think USC's been a little bit overrated. They've been as high as number 11 in the rankings. And they took a huge tumble. They tumbled from 11 to out of the top 25 this past week after a bad loss last week. Penn State, this is the type of game where James Franklin will go out and win this game on the road. He just doesn't win against Ohio State and Michigan. And I think they'll win this game and cover the 5.
Michigan, they might have a shot at this year, Keith. Ohio State, they don't.
This year they might. If they're on the schedule. I haven't even looked at their schedule that closely. I'm not sure they have both of them or not.
Penn State always seems to have a good defense, right? Their linebackers, they call linebacker U for them over there, them in Ohio State. I knew one of the coaches that he lives around here that actually was the defensive coach for the Penn State the Lions there, and they always have a great defense. I just like the points. I like the points. I think USC can maybe keep it close. I don't know if they win or not, but I think they can keep it within the 5. We'll see what happens. But
I often like the points at home, especially myself. But this one I'll go the other way and lay the 5.
Listen, Penn State always has a great running game too. They control the clock. They pass when they have to. Right.
And Alar's better. Their quarterback Alar's better at getting the ball down the field this year than he's been. Yes. And they played pretty good football, and they've been getting better. They'll get beat by Ohio State probably twice this year because they'll probably finish second and play Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game and then lose that one as well.
Well, listen, it does fare. It's like old school football, right? They have the running game, play action pass, throw deep. There's the Raiders of the 70s and the Steelers of the 70s, and there you go. That's really good. I love that kind of football. I really do. Stanford minus 23.5. Plus 23.5. I'm sorry. Versus Notre Dame.
This is an interesting game. They play every year, so this is a year in and year out rivalry. Stanford, again, their football fortunes have not been very good the last few years. After a good run for quite a few years under Jim Harbaugh and then David Shaw, and they've been bad the last 5. Their best win this year, they went to Syracuse and beat a pretty good Syracuse team at home. I think Notre Dame will cover this spread because Notre Dame needs the style points. They moved up a lot. They moved all the way back up to number 11, I think, this week in the AP standings. Notre Dame, to make that playoff, is going to need some style points in these types of games, and I think I'm going to say they cover this big spread at home.
Wow, Keith. I'm going opposite you here again. I think this is where Notre Dame stumbles and falls again. It's something about the head coach there that these games that they should all of a sudden come and pummel people, they have problems with. And I'm not saying that Notre Dame doesn't win this game because I like Notre Dame, the way the quarterback's playing now, the running game, the defense. Stanford is just a hard-nosed school, always has been, always plays Notre Dame tough. I think they keep it, within 2 scores, Keith. I think they might.
It's fair enough. I have jumped off the Marcus Freeman. I've spent some 3 years now defending Marcus Freeman, and after the Northern Illinois game and the way they misused Riley Leonard for the first part of the season, they're using him correctly now, getting him out of the pocket, moving around, which is what he does best. Throws on the run, and he can run the football. That's what they've been doing recently. This team can't afford another stumble. This team will not get into playoff with 2 losses because the teams but they might lose to are not going to be that good. I agree. And this would be a devastating loss if they were to lose this game for sure.
I don't think they lose, Keith. I think it stays just within 3 scores. Yeah, Cal, which is a very good team to me. I mean, they show up, they play hard against Pitt. Cal's getting 3 at Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh's playing well lately too, Keith.
5-0, a bit surprising. Picked near the bottom of the ACC this year. They're playing really well. Their coach Narduzzi was in trouble. One of the guys on one of the hottest seats, I would say, in college football when the season started. They've started very well. Cal's played tough. Lost a heartbreaker with a 25 after having a 25-point lead against Miami at home last week, and they lost to Florida State. at Florida State, which really gives me pause. And traveling across the country can be problematic. I like Pittsburgh in this game.
And that, folks, was brought to you by He Likes Pittsburgh. I'm taking Cal. Keith the hell with it. I'm going opposite everyone you go. You should go 3-0.
One of us is going to do well.
You should go 3-0 this week. Oh, shoot. I was going to go with Pitt, and I said, the hell with it. I mean, I'm just going to be indifferent to your picks this week. It's not
Cal could win. I'm not so sure Pittsburgh is good as they look, but Pittsburgh's a surprise, and I'm not sure if they're 5-0 good, but we'll see.
Keith, I had a long day yesterday. When you get a sponsor like we just picked up here, it's an all-day thing. It's an all-day thing. It's crazy. I mean, I started in the morning. I didn't finish till last night. I'm crying now. I got to hold on, Keith. Here you go. Anyway, let's talk a little bit. Are you good to stay for?
Yeah, I can finish up. I can finish up with you.
All right. I know. Congratulations. Keith has a big thing going on after the show, and you got to be happy with what's going on. I don't know if you want to share it. I'm not going to share it.
I'm very happy to share that I have an officiating. I'm now an ordained minister, by the way, which in New York State is very hard to get. You have to send $49 to Universal Life Church, and then
sorry. Oh my God! Go ahead.
Yeah, it's a rigorous process. I have to tell you, it took me like 10 minutes to do this. But now, in fairness, I had a lot of work to do because I had to put together a nice little wedding ceremony and sermon, not so much in the truest sense of the word, but I'm happy to be officiating my niece's wedding today,
Right.
and excited that they asked me, and I'm excited to join them in eternal matrimony, if that's the right way to say it.
I mean, listen, Keith. Listen. I'm sorry. I can imagine you anyway. The get up and everything. If this goes wrong,
there's no get up. I'll be in a suit tie. It's not like maybe
Aren't you worried if this wedding goes bad, this marriage goes bad, you're gonna have to be part of the blame here? Does that bother you at all?
I've been the blame for a couple of bad marriages, but I was the one involved in them. So
what the hell, right? What the hell? Yeah, Father Keith. Yeah, maybe I gotta change the intro now. Anyway, some college football news real quick, Keith. They're talking about a Super League, 75 teams. We talked about this a year or two ago that they're going to end up being like the NFL, having their own divisions, playing just like the NFL does. It only makes sense. I mean, I always love going next step in the fruition. What's going to happen next? Because all this stuff is laid in and built for certain things. You're going to see college football 1-2 years from now. NCAA has no more power. SEC and Big Ten have all the power. They're gonna have their own little thing. They're gonna tell NCAA to go somewhere else, form their own league, and that's what we're gonna be following.
I waver on this a lot, and again, I know I didn't. I probably my biggest, saying no, we can't have that. That's 2 years ago when we started this conversation. Was I didn't want to see it because I think it's horrible for the game, and I still do. It's good for the schools and it's good for television. I still waver on this whole 75 team super conference because I'm not saying there won't be. I won't say the Big Ten and the SEC won't move away from the rest, but why would they bring in teams and share revenue with teams that are not going to bring in the same revenue that they would on their own? They're just going to share with more teams. There's only so much TV money out there.
I agree.
Right. So I have my doubts about the SEC and the Big Ten being on board with this because, again, splitting up the money 50 more, or not 50, but 40 more ways, whatever the number would be. So that would be the stumbling block there. And there's only 131 teams. So 60 teams would get left behind and form their own division and, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's already been.
The way it works, Keith, to me, the way it works, and I agree with you, I think it would be like an NFL, AFL thing, right? I think you would have one league that has this, the other league has that. At the end, they have their Super Bowl, just like they used to a long time ago. That's the only way that would work. Otherwise, you are correct. There is too many teams. So you would have to have two separate leagues. And that's the way
I think, I do think that would say, if anything, And I don't know how they could actually do it and have a true national champion. I mean, the Big Ten and the SEC could expand a bit more, not to 75 between the two of them.
Right.
And they'd go off on their own. But is that going to be a real national championship when you really eliminated, half of the field? I mean, half the field, look at 3/4 of the field doesn't have any chance to win it now.
Exactly.
Right?
And I think you've got more people would want to watch the SEC than the rest of them. I think the contracts would be bigger. I think all the major networks would throw the money behind that. So, I don't know, Keith. I don't know if it's good or bad, but you just see it coming. I mean, you could see it coming. I could see it coming a couple of years ago.
There are definitely changes still coming, right? I mean, we're going to see more movement now that the Pac-12 is trying to rebuild itself. We're going to see more and more movement. The Mountain West is trying to survive, so they're going to pilfer from, we're down to 10 leagues. And on a little bit of a side note, but similar, Notre Dame cannot continue to play, I think, without a league, because I know they want to stay on their own. They got their own. They could get more money in the Big Ten. Those schools are getting $36 million a year. Right now, the TV contract for Notre Dame is around 25. So it's not like they can't get more money.
And you could still keep your own little thing on the side, Keith. They do it. I mean, teams do it.
Well, even the problem with Notre Dame is the way the playoff is built today, they don't have an easy path. They have to be undefeated, one loss to get in because they don't have a conference affiliation.
Unless they go up against teams that have 2 losses that are the last spot to get in there, then they probably would get in. That's
where they're going to end up, right? They're going to end up fighting a 5th team or a 6th team, even in the SEC, or a 3rd team in the Big Ten, or a 2nd in the ACC or the Big 12. They're going to be fighting for that. The 12th spot's going to go to that group of 5 team, but that 11th spot, that 12th, the 10th spot, that's what they're going to be fighting for right now. And they can never get a bye. They're always going to have to play that extra game because they can never be one of the top 4 seeds. They can't be because they don't have a league. So it's going to be more pressure, and it's going to get harder to schedule. Some of these teams it's going to get harder to schedule because of these giant leagues, and they're not going to go out and play Notre Dame in non-league games.
Not if they don't have to. Not if they don't have to, Keith. Real quick, some quick NFL news. Of course, we all know Salah was fired. He did he did take the high road. He thanked the organization, thanked his coaches. I mean, he did a real good. If he wants to coach again, he can't really complain that much anyway, because he wants to, have opportunities maybe to get back to that position again. Salah, there's a few places that Salah could go to right now, Keith. I threw out the 49ers. I don't think it would happen right away, but he could go. He could go to Dallas. The Dallas defense under Zimmer has been playing pretty poorly. Jacksonville, 1-4 right now, need defensive help. And the Colts defense has underperformed, and Miami doesn't have a physical defense at all. That's possible landing spots for him, Keith.
It could be, but he's not going to go somewhere just for the sake of going somewhere, right? He's getting paid a lot of money to sit home, and it's got to be the right situation, because if he goes there and doesn't succeed, that's going to hurt his chances at another head coaching job. I think they're very slim as it is myself, that he'll get another opportunity. If he goes somewhere and excels, then maybe he will. But great coordinator. Maybe a lot of coordinators have not been good head coaches,
maybe
right?
He gets on the plane and goes to London. He might be just in the right position to maybe become head coach. Who knows?
If I'm Doug Peterson, I'm not on that plane going to London. I'm just staying home. I don't feel well. I'll
call you with my stuff. Yeah, definitely. Keith, thanks for coming in. You kind of filled in for Jack for me. Congratulations again. Give your best wishes to your niece from us if you think about it.
Will do.
And again, folks, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the likes, the loves, and the possible shares later. And to all the networks that we will be on in the future. Thanks for watching our show. Coffee and Sports should be up right after this. What is today, Keith? Today's Friday. No, they're not. You're on.
I got an encore interview with Mike Bass.
Yeah, I almost kicked Keith. Keith, since he's going, I almost kicked him off. No, Keith Angle will be up next with his big interview. With who again, Keith?
This is an encore interview we did with Mike Bass here a month or so, a former Redskin. It was a very interesting interview.
Yes.
Tune in.
And Mike Bass was one hell of a player. Okay,
Yeah.
folks, thanks for tuning in and stay with Roku all day for all the great shows. Have